الحمد لله كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. اللهم لك الحمد كله ولك الشكر كله وإليه يرجع الأمر كله علانيته وسره. ثم الصلاة والسلام الأتمان الأكملان على سيد الخلق وأفضل البشر محمد بن عبد الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته الغر الميامين والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. وبعد، فيا عباد الله، أولا أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله، فقد فاز المتقون حيث قال الله سبحانه: ولقد وصينا الذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبلكم وإياكم أن اتقوا الله. وقال أيضا جزاء لذلك: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. اللهم اجعلنا من المتقين والفائزين. آمين. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, as we commence and open our khutbah, we always praise Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala first and foremost, then send our blessings and salutations upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the best of all creations, who has taught us the meaning of life and the meaning of living as an essential component in our lives. Because as a reality, in the new world order, if we look at our reality today, it's all about separating, dividing, tearing apart societies, communities that once lived together. Today, each one of us are confounded in our own families. We live alone. No tribe will come to assist you and hold you responsible and accountable on anything that you do. In fact, the main topic that we have is related to redefining responsibilities, the role of men, the role of women, the role of societies. And if you look in today's day and age, in the 21st century, you notice that what was normal yesterday is not normal today. How was life like? As Wa'il Halaq explains, it will be a myth for one to say that they understand the past if they have not lived it. And it would not make sense for the one in the past to say that they understand the current situation because they don't even know how it looks like. But with the remnants of what we have, of what's written, of what we might have collected from our own elders, maybe our grandparents, or from what they found from their grandparents, which would be our ancestors, we learn one or two of the little of what we can get of how the world was in the past. You notice what regulated societies were the tribes. Families worked together as a team. How many of us, if you look at us today, grew up knowing who their auntie was, their uncle, their grandfather, grandparents, and they had utmost respect for them? Scholars, they were the mediators for societies to bringing people together. But the matter of the fact today, you notice that's not the case. One of the means used as to divide is to make sure that that generation of the past does not connect with the next. And this has brought us a lot of problems. And one of them are that you find a generation grows up, especially us, before those who come after us. We are part of that generation where we have lost the sense of responsibility. And there are so many contributing factors to this. Do you think Allah, هل تظن أن الله يذكر هذا في القرآن عبثا عندما يقول أولئك الذين أنعم الله عليهم بعد ذلك ماذا يقول؟ فخلف من بعدهم خلف أضاعوا الصلاة واتبعوا الشهوات فسوف يلقون غيا. دائما عندما ننظر إلى الآية ماذا نقول؟ معنى إضاعة الصلاة أو تضييع الصلاة واحد لا يصلي. فهل سألت نفسك لماذا لا يصلي? Have you asked yourself why this person is not praying? But Allah followed it together and هذا الواو ليس للتراخي، اختلف تماما عن الفاء. في الفاء في نوع من التراخي وثم هكذا لكن no, it's immediate. There's an immediate effect. من يضيع الصلاة دائما له اتباع الشهوات واتبعوا الشهوات فسوف يلقون غيا. How do you literally have a society like that? لا يهتمون بالصلاة لا يبالون بأمر دنياهم ولا آخرتهم لعدم فهمهم ما معنى تحمل المسؤولية, because they don't understand the meaning of what it means to carry responsibility. Because you would say, perhaps still our children come to pray, but Allah said at the same time in Surah Al-A'raf, فَخَلَفَ مِن بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ, same piece, وَرِثُوا الْكِتَابِ, these people, they inherited the book, مَنْ هُمْ بَنُو إِسْرَائِيلِ. ومجاهد ماذا يقول؟ الذين يرثون الكتاب الورثة الكتاب المقصود هنا في تفسير ابن كثير هم النصارى لكن يزيد شيئا بعد ذلك. يزيد ماذا؟ وقد يكون أعم من ذلك. It can be even more than that. What does that tell you and I? Still our children will pray. They will come to the masjid to seek Quran. They might seek knowledge. لكن أين التربية? Where is the accountability? The fact that they will be held responsible, where is it? You read the king of the castle, Gay Eaton, what does he explain? He's a Muslim who writes this book. He shows that how man is the king of the castle himself. Because the thoughts that are carried in the mind, the emotions that are processed in the heart, and the functionality of the body physically is exactly what determines how you are going to be held accountable for every single deed that you make. But how is that possible in a day where technology comes to play? مثلا, the agricultural man who has a little farm today, if there is no water, there is a way to get that water. لذلك العلماء, they cannot turn a blind eye to this. فنصف عشر إن سقي بالكلفة. When it comes to what? Agricultural lands, these type of people, if they cannot get water from rain, they have to seek other means. لذلك, you notice that when it comes to their zakah, how they give out zakah is different. أليس كذلك؟ الأولى فعشر أو هما بالنسبة. It's as simple as that. But if you notice in today's day and age, technology has done this. If you cannot use natural resources for fertilization and what so and so, technology does it for you. You use that, hence you have mass production without having any type of worry. The moment that can solve your issue, you don't have to worry about holding yourself accountable. But ask the parents who existed before who had farms. They were responsible of their farms. If they did not dig properly, they did not plow the right way, they did not plant the seeds properly, there was no right amount of fertilization, despite having natural disasters or causes, you notice that if nature would be generous enough to serve them but nothing as crops came out, it will be their own mistake. So they had an immediate effect. Immediately they realized their mistake, what they need to correct, what they need to do right. Now what has the modern day and age done to you and I? Incapacitated man to a level where their minds cannot think anymore. We have become numb to the idea that we are responsible, hence we are failing as fathers and mothers. I was explaining this just a few minutes ago while coming here. You notice that the same author, Gay Eaton, he explains it properly. A society who literally wait to become job holders, basically seek jobs through employments. A society that would hold the other accountable, such as their governments, would be a society that does not understand the meaning of responsibility. Hence, the definition of responsibility needs to be redefined. Because these type of people, they don't have an immediate effect to realize where they went wrong. Different in comparison to the person who is self-employed, mathalan. Is there anything wrong with having a job? There's nothing wrong with that. Understand that. But you notice, we become complacent with our jobs with multi-conglomerate corporations. You notice that these type of corporations, You enter, you tap in, you tap out, 9 to 5. Whether you've done your job, whether you did not do your job, you leave. There's no sense of responsibility on your shoulders that you ruined that job. Because even if you are laid out of your job, you will seek another one, get another one, and move on in life. But when you're self-employed, imagine this. You have a little shop, a kiosk. You're literally seeking your risk. If you decide today to close your shop and you did not earn anything on that day, whose fault is it? We can all answer that. Whose fault is it? Us. When you did not earn because you decided to close shop, close your mind, not think ahead, not seek that rizq, mathalan, whose fault would it be? Like a meeting that you have to attend and you will literally facilitate your life. You decide not to go ahead. Whose fault would it be? Similar to the father and the mother who are consumed with their mobile phones, with technology once again, that when it comes time for dinner, even on the dinner table, they cannot abandon the little gadgets. They are constantly on their phones, either taking jobs or dealing with business or just surfing on the internet, that they don't have time for the next generation. If this generation grows up to be the one khalfun, ada'u salah, they abandon salah, ittaba'u shahawat, whose fault would it be? Their fault immediately? Or do we have our own contribution in it? Have you ever asked yourself that? Have we understood the meaning of responsibility in itself? An ummah that literally grows without holding itself accountable is an ummah that would be entirely lost. As a matter of fact, why? أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم وهو البر الكريم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. إخوة الكرام, Walid the first in the Umayyad dynasty, في الدولة الأموية, he had a ring which on that ring was engraved the words, Walid, thou shalt die. Constantly, when he looked at his hand, when you're wearing a ring and you're constantly driving, when you put your hands on the seat or on the table and you see those engravings, they remind you all the time that one day you pass away. What does that do? Psychologically, it has an effect. It teaches you that one day you pass away. The Darwish of the Turkish Empire, the Ottoman Empire at the time, the last Khilafah, Caliphate that existed, you notice that they would wear these long white turbans. Were those just traditional clothes, or did they have a meaning? Go study their seerah, you'll realize. You realize that what was normal yesterday is not the norm today. What factor, what psychological, tangible commodity are we holding on to which will constantly remind us of the afterlife? What is it that we will give to our children? The type of circle, the type of goods in terms of knowledge, and far beyond that will constantly remind them that one day they will pass away. كما قال زهير في معلقته سئمت تكاليف الحياة ومن يعش 80 حولا لا أبا لك يسأل. I literally became so tired of life with its responsibilities and its difficulties, and the one who lives 80 حولا, لذلك العلماء يستعملون كلمة حول في الفقه دائما, أو جب زكاة في نصاب النعم بالحول والملك. الحول is a كلمة عادية, we all use it. 80 حولا, once you pass 80 years of your life, لا أبا لك يسأمي, he will surely be tired of life. Some of the ulama say a man wanted to live more than 80 years, and Allah granted him that life. He lived nearly 800 years. A generation after him came, and then the next one, and then the next one, that he became so old, blind. He even had a little falcon with him. He would walk around with the falcon. But remember, as the generations come by, they despised him because he lived in a time which was not his. Then he realized that I had to pass away. I had to leave. If that is the case, how comes you and I as Muslims do not have anything that constantly reminds us of that? The Darwish who wore the long turban, that turban was their kafan. وَالْكَفَنُ الْوَاجِبُ مِنْهُ مَا سَتَرَ. That kafan that they would use, they would wear it on top of their heads. Constantly when they look at the mirror, they would hold themselves accountable, knowing that the reality is we will all return back to Allah. Now, how does this have an effect when a generation comes that abandons salah? They become a generation that they only follow their desires. The fact that they reach to this level because first of all, they don't see the need of praying. They cannot carry that responsibility because it has no weight in their lives. How? They have no knowledge, no ilm that they carry with them. And even if they have this ilm, أين التربية? أين تربية الأبوية? The tarbiyah of the father, where is it? Is tarbiyah only from the asatidah? Is tarbiyah only from the mentors? And mafatihu tarbiyah. You as the father and the mother, you are the keys of tarbiyah. If we don't teach the next generation responsibility, it will become exactly the type of kind of generation that does not do what? That doesn't pray. And even if it does pray, as As-Suddi mentions in the same tafsir, when you look carefully into the verse, he says that they were the ones who inherited the book. لكن معنى يأخذون عرض هذا الأدنى عندما استقضى بنو إسرائيل قضاهم, their qudah, when they would go to them for a mas'ala or a case, irtasha, they would bribe. These people inherited the book. اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا. The ahbar and the ruhban are the ones that literally do this. How do they do this? Lack of tarbiyah. It's gone. The first thing that we need to realize is that it doesn't mean today you go change your job. But we need to realize as believers, one day we are going to depart this life. Similar to the one at the time of Isa alayhi salam, you notice that he lived on top of a mountain. And he was asked, "Sir, you live up here. ما اتخذت لنفسك بيتا?" You didn't even build for yourself a house. You don't even have anything while you're secluded here alone. He said, even if we are promised to live 700 years, in those days, how many years? 700 years. فَمَا بَالْ نَحْنُ. What about us that live only maximum 100 years? And for majority of us, we do not experience that at all in our families. Agreed? About 60, 70, whoever goes further is about 85. It says, why would I build a house in a temporary home that I live in right now while I'm a traveler knowing that I am going to a permanent abode? Allahu Akbar. Which house should I build for? How should I prepare myself? Where should I place my energy? As a responsible man, where should my energy go? What should I be doing in my life? Have we asked ourselves those questions? Have we considered those? So when this generation is growing up, the norm was, let's go back to the past a little bit. The norm was a son or a daughter who was born. When the father leaves or the mother, no one had doubts that they will leave them in the hands of responsible people. Who were they? The auntie, the uncle, the tribe, the clan. Borders were welcomed. Same families torn apart with imaginary lines. Today they are separated, which cause separation of the mind, separation psychologically, that we define each other's differently. We even despise one another just because we come from different lands. That's the matter of the fact. And that has done what? Severed those ties of kinship. And because of that, you notice that trust became lost. Now who's left to be the one that takes care of the generation? That luxury is gone. Finished. لذلك Ibn Ata'illah Secondary mentions clearly, rahmatullahi alayh, For the people that do this, they forget one important concept in their lives that lead them to irresponsibility. They live in the past that is already gone and they can do nothing about it. They want to go to the future while the future is not born yet. لم يخلق بعد. But they're forgetting the current time that they need to solve their problem that they have, which what you do now has an effect with what will happen tomorrow. Simply put, I've mentioned this a number of times, but it doesn't leave my mind at all. A father called me, wants me to teach his son. And this son has already memorized Quran. Open your ears, clear your mind, listen to me carefully. His son has memorized Quran, went to boarding school in Britain, mashallah. And that's an achievement, of course. But what was he complaining about? My son doesn't want to listen to me. My son does not care about his mother. He literally uses every filthy word that will come out of his mouth. And when I tell him to come back home or ask him where you are, he will tell his father, it's none of your business. What did he want from me? To give his son some sort of tarbiyah. And I will conclude with this, inshallah. I asked the father, what is your relationship with your son? The first question I asked, what's your job? What's your day job? What do you do? You think it's a simple question, but I'll tell you the truth. The type of job you do has an immediate effect and a correlation with how your relationship would be with your family. Number one. Number two, how you associate with your job will show exactly, manifest itself how you live with the next generation, which is your children. Ask yourself that. Look around you. I asked the father, what job do you do? Guess what job he does? He deals with real estate. And he has, not just that he deals with real estate, he has an entire agency. He's a multi-rich person. Multi-millionaire, I'll be honest with you. He has money. However, how he made his wealth is through riba. He takes the deals, signs contracts of riba, and he agrees with it. He facilitates riba in the middle. Understood? He's the middleman. And beyond that, what happened is that he didn't have even a single drop of time for his children. And whenever he came home, sometimes he would disappear for days just because of business and everything. 18 years down the line, what has been broken already for 18 years, that it has dried down, you want to mend it in 1 month? The son doesn't have any relationship with the father. Now the father tells me last week, I've sat down and started reading Quran for 1 week so that I can literally pull my son towards reading Quran. Seriously. You think your son will come to you and read Quran after 18 years of not seeing the father or the mother reading any sort of Quran, guiding them towards being firm on the ground and understanding the reality of life and making them that they have the right tarbiyah, molding them to how the world is, and being the type of men who will stand as rijal. The definition of rajul today does not exist. What the modern construct has given us is not rujuliyah. لا نسميها رجولة أصلا. It's not. Because if it is rujula, then أعوذ بالله, may Allah forbid for what I'm going to say, the Sahaba, they were not men. If we're going to take this definition today, then that's what it means. And I don't want anyone to take my words out of context. Understand what I'm saying, because the modern construct does not give you the definition of what manhood means. Now, if the father is not there for 18 years, then he comes back and wants to mend this relationship, how do you think it will be mendable? How does he do that? I cannot hold water in my mouth on that day. Besides, I had to tell the father, what you broke for the last 18 years, you cannot fix it in just 1 week. And ma'al asaf, I cannot take in your child. What would I do in 15 minutes with that child, even if you send your child to a madrasa, which yesterday it was the school known as today's schools. I'll take my son to school. That madrasa or maktab that was called a madrasa yesterday was in the position of school. That madrasa which we neglect is where the child will learn حقوق الآباء والأمهات. But when they go to school, they learn about حقوق الأولاد. The حقوق of the children, not the حقوق of the father and the mother. So when they come home, they teach you, Dad, this is my right. But they wouldn't tell you, Dad, this is your right, I'll take it from you. They wouldn't do that. Think about it. How do I spend 15 minutes in a class with a child in that 1 hour, and then when they go, you think that that will solve the issue? Who's responsible now? Who is supposed to stand and take care of them? Who is the one that will be there for them if not ourselves as parents? Ikhwat al-kiram. The world is demolished enough. It's broken already. And to finish off, to teach you, O fathers and mothers, as we run for this dunya through employment or jobs or businesses, the Industrial Revolution was all about businesses. For those who have studied a little bit of what? History. And the rise of modern techniques. The Industrial Revolution was all because of what? The rise of businesses. And for those who had businesses, what did they promise? Permanent employment to retirement. And when these parents found this as a way out, they thought life was going to be as easy as it could be. What happened next? Bada al-ihmal, heedlessness, carelessness, easy life. What did it lead to? Khulthum. A generation that came, ada'u salah. This diya' of salah only happens when generations become what? They lay back. They're not accountable anymore. Not responsible of anything. And that leads to not only incapability to the akhirah, but also incapability to the dunya. The one who cannot think of the akhirah, I promise you, little they will think about their dunya. And even if they have the tharawat, the amwal, everything, but remember the akhlaq will not be similar to the one who deserves to own it. May Allah help us. May Allah guide us. May Allah allow us to understand what responsibilities mean. ألا وصلوا وسلموا على رسول الله كما أمر الله سبحانه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم اللهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد ورضي الله عن الأربعة الخلفاء الراشدين وعلى سائر صحابة رسول الله أجمعين اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداءك أعداء الدين ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم واغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولجميع المسلمين الأحياء منهم الميتين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله العظيم الجليل يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون أقم الصلاة